Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And the SNP are doing it again. They've come up with a radical idea that's rejected by everyone who is involved in this. Everyone who is an expert are all saying it's a terrible idea. They're pointing out many flaws in it, which we're going to look at it, but there are so many flaws in it straight off, and even sitting here before I even go into the piece, I can think of two or three. It will achieve nothing. And unlike others which have caused economic hardship, this is far worse. This will destroy the lives of people at school today. The children today could have their entire lives destroyed by a policy that the SNP are proposing. And proposing it against the wishes of everyone involved, against the wishes of all the experts, and against the wishes of the teachers. And what they're hoping to achieve will not work, and it will disadvantage Scottish children for the rest of their lives. Now, we already know Scottish education system is so bad. It's so appallingly bad that Scotland actually pulled out of the World League tables out of embarrassment because the Scottish exam results were so disappointing. And so, rather than have disappointing exam results, which would, force by necessity force a change, and they'd have to lift those exam results out. But that costs money, and that's hard. And so, in their infinite wisdom, the SNP have decided that since it's going to be impossible for them to lift exam standards, it would be much easier to abolish exams entirely and just let kids leave school, and that's it. What? When you go to work, you're not paid just to turn up and give it a good go. You're paid by results. Your boss doesn't go, yeah, he got everything wrong today, but, at least he turned up. No, you do that too often, you're down the road. That's what happens. This is what happens in the real world. By not putting that into children, you're not preparing them for the real world. But it's far worse than even you can imagine. We're going to look at this now, but it is stunning in its stupidity. Absolutely stunning. So here goes. Now, the SNP and the Greens have come up with one harebrained scheme after another, each one getting worse than the last. But this one takes the biscuit, and it is so damaging. You cannot think that it isn't deliberate. They are deliberately doing this. They want to deliberately, destroy an entire generation's prospects. Presumably because they just don't want an educated population. Because an educated population would see right through them. They want a single-party Marxist state with stupid people who daren't to question or are incapable of questioning what's happening to them. Seems to be the way. Anyway, exams could be ditched in Scottish schools under mad plans being considered by the SNP. It's bonkers. Scottish schools are bad enough now. They've gone from being one of the best education systems in the world to not even as good as some third world countries. Under the SNP entirely. This is how bad it's got because progressive. Unbelievable. Anyway, formal testing for senior high school students could be scrapped entirely as the Scottish Government looks to potentially divisive recommendations that is already causing a stir among educators. Let me tell you, the educators are not divided on this. This isn't like some are pro and some are against. They are almost to a man and woman against this. They're saying it is really bad. Because if children don't have targets, there's no impetus to meet those targets. There's no, well, what's the point? What doesn't matter? Don't have an exam to fail. Duh. If they've got to pass those exams, they work hard. That's number one. Straight off the top of my head, if you don't have a target, you're not going to drive towards it. It is appallingly bad idea. Anyway, Scotland's senior students could avoid exams in a move that would replace the current system in favour of an extracurricular activities. that will be judged as part of a Scottish diploma. And that's all very fine and pleasant if you've got a family that can handle your extracurricular activities, that have got the money to take you places, that have got the facilities for you to do something. Not all families are like that. If everything is in a school and the school is providing, then everyone is treated equally. But if you're saying, oh, well, you need to do Scottish country dancing, well, that's fine, but I don't have the money to buy all the kit. And I don't have a parent who can drive me to the dancing school. Oh, and that's just an example, but it is there. It's a genuine example of what they're doing. So what do the kids who can't afford it, what do the kids from difficult backgrounds do? Suffer? Go down the toilet? Because that's what the SNP are proposing. Anyway, the current education system exposes 4th, 5th and 6th year students to standardised testing for several subjects that result in grades, which is the same system they use in every other country in the world, because it's the best system. It's how you assess people. It's how you know those that are good enough to go to further education or to higher education or to go in and do that. Or you get the ones in the middle that will go out into the world of work, or you get the really bad ones who need more help, but that's a different kettle of fish. Anyway, proposals suggest pupils will be judged on coursework alongside a Scottish diploma, which factors in out-of-school clubs like Scouts or Girl Guides, playing sport or volunteering. So it's okay. I didn't pass my maths exam, but I was a Boy Scout and I got fire making. Oh, that's great then. Come and be a lawyer. What? These people are bonkers. Anyway, this is according to reports in the Times that stem from a paper led by Louise Hayward, and she calls herself an expert on assessment at the University of Edinburgh. I'm going to suggest she's not an expert, because not assessing children isn't assessment, is it? The recommendation from the review is due to be reported within the next 2 weeks before the summer holidays. The stance is already proving divisive, as some say it will pile on more coursework that will impact teens with challenging homes. I've just said that. And other views that it will revolutionise the system. It will destroy the system. What Scotland needs is money put into the education system, smaller class sizes, more help for those who need the help at both ends. You've got the vast bulk in the middle that will just go in, sausage factory out, and come out with whatever degrees, whatever passes they have. You need to help the ones at the very bottom that do need the actual help, but you also need the ones at the top being pushed harder to lift them up. Because it's important as much as you need to help the ones who are lagging. You really need to push the ones that are ahead. That is the benefit of the nation. Anyway, education experts, including teachers, argue it is a move from the rote learning of exams to a more broader understanding of concepts and skill. However, concern has been raised over the impact of a coursework-heavy curriculum and the cost of clubs. Yeah, that's all very fine and pleasant. Who's paying? Who's paying for this stuff? And coursework isn't how work is in the real world. Work in the real world is results driven. And if your kid if you've got like a 10-year-old, 12-year-old going into high school, he's 11, isn't he? 12-year-old at high school, and he's not having to work for 5-6 years to get to those exams, he won't bother. Don't matter, does it? I'll do some coursework, whatever. He's marking time. This is why firms today find it difficult to motivate young people. Young people are very, very hard to motivate in companies because of this cultural shift. The quiet quitting, that kind of thing. And it's because they aren't pushed. You need to be pushed. Higher exams for 5th and 6th year pupils who wish to apply for university is expected to remain, and it is seen vital learning tool for higher education. Right, so they're admitting that it's a vital skill, taking an exam. So what they're saying is, okay, we'll give exams for people who are bright and can go to university, but look, these people are camels, they're thick, we'll just use them in factories, they don't need an exam. It's divisive. It is utterly divisive. Anyway, the teaching union has advised caution over the new plans, with the worry that some students won't be prepared for exams when they are older or in higher education because they've not had any practice of exams. Mike Corbett, Scottish official for the teaching union NASUWT, said they want to move towards a more exit type of exam because most kids no longer leave in S4. Most of them would not do exams unless they were leaving, and you only have exams in S6. That is a lot of danger. Yeah, because you're only going to get your exam in S6. You've never had an exam up to then. First time you have an exam will be the life-changing exam, rather than practice exams every year. Also, by doing exams, it gives a standardised level, and parents can judge how well their, little Johnny or Susan is learning based on the results of exams at regular intervals. End of each year, you're examining whatever your core subjects are. Maths, physics, English, Oh, well, your English is okay, but your maths is appalling. You need more work on your maths. You can see that and you can push them. By not having any exams, how do you judge? How does a parent judge how well a child is doing? It's ridiculous. Mr Corbett also warned about the class divide over the former Scottish diploma, with the extracurricular activities only available for those who can afford it. And whilst working towards the DOE award or attending Girl Guides or Scouts regularly are activities often only pursued by middle-class households. Emeritus Professor of Educational Policy Lindsay Patterson described ditching exams as an absolute revolution. He said previous reforms of National 4s have left parents sceptical of any assessment system that does not have an external exam. The parents' wishes must be consulted, and parents want exams. It's how they judge the efficacy of education. Now, we know in Scotland the efficacy of education is very, very low at the moment, and there's only one reason for that, and that's the SNP. Because when in 2007 they came into power, Scottish education was one of the top in the world. Now it's in the bottom 10%. He said, Mr. Patterson said, at the moment, coursework is unfairly influenced by the condition of people's homes. If you have an opportunity to talk about your coursework at home, you are in a better position to do well. And that means that there is a bias. And of course, if you take away the exams and put everything coursework, then what you're doing is deliberately targeting poor people or people with difficult homes for failure early in their lives. You're stamping fail on them at the age of 12 or 13. What gives these politicians the right to decide whether a child will succeed or fail in life at the age of 12? It's because educating children is hard. And it's too hard a job for the SNP, and that has been proved by the evidence. Ask the teachers, ask the parents what they want, and they'll all say the same thing. Exams. Well, I think the SNP need to have an exam themselves, and that will be happening over the next few elections. And let's hope they fail. I'm coming up. Why would this even be discussed? Why would you set children up to fail? Why would you take away any kind of assessment throughout their school career? Assessment for both the teachers and the parents, so that the children know their strong areas, their weak areas, where they need to push, where they need to revise. And it also prepares them for the real world, which is result driven. It's almost, I honestly think it would be deliberately done, literally, to destroy the future prospects of children in Scotland. Because you can't do this out of sheer stupidity. This is so obviously a bad thing that to go with it is a willful act of the destruction of the education system in Scotland. It's got to be willful. This isn't accidental, and therefore you're destroying the future of these children, and that is a crime against humanity, surely. If it isn't, it ought to be. But that's what you get with the SNP. Vote SNP. Make sure your children are never educated. They keep you down. They keep you where you are, uneducated and pliant. You'll do as you're told in our one-party Marxist state. I shall finish there. Thank you very much for listening. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, please hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and if you can, home educate your children. Bye.